Okay, this is part 2 of Excel Chapter 1, and we are working on a personal budget worksheet. In the last video, we set up and entered all of our data, all of our column and row headings, and we did our formulas to find out what our net income or net loss was. So in this section, we're going to be formatting. You can format your worksheet to emphasize certain entries and to make the worksheet easier to read and understand. So basically, it's going to look better. Okay, so whenever we get done, this is what our worksheet's going to look like. You can tell that this one's got some colored lines, it's got some borders, so it's got different colors that's making it stand out. You can really see down here your net income or net loss line. So that's what we're going to be working on doing. So here is our Excel sheet. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to format the title. The title is always going to be your top line in your worksheet. And we can actually use a predefined style that Excel already has. It's going to provide consistent appearance to common portions of your worksheet, such as worksheet titles, the worksheet subtitles, and column headings and total rows. So cell A1 is where our title is, so we're going to click on that. Then under our Home tab, over here we have our Styles section. We're going to go ahead and click on our cell styles. You've got some of those showing, or you can hit this little button down here to see more of them. That's going to give us all of those. And the one we're going to choose is Title. So we're just going to click on the title. You can tell it changed the font, it changed the size, it changed the color. And you'll notice if you go through here, if you were to just put your mouse over them, it's going to show you what they would look like. That's called the live preview. So we want the title one for this. Okay, next we're going to go to cell A2, which is going to be our subtitle. And often you use different fonts in Excel just to make things stand out. We're going to change the subtitle font to Cambria. So I'm clicked in cell A2. I'm going to come up to my font button and I'm going to find Cambria. And go ahead and make that change. Okay, going on. We're going to go back to our title in cell A1, and we want to make it bold so that it really stands out. So I'm just going to hit my bold button up here, which is the capital B. I could have also right-clicked and used my mini toolbar for the capital B, or I could press Control B on my keyboard. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for cell A2, which where it says monthly estimates. We're going to make that one bold also. Okay, we're still in cell A2, and monthly estimates is kind of small, so we're going to increase the size of that to 14. You can either hit your drop-down arrow, or you can hit your Grow Font button until it changes to size 14. And the color of that one, we are going to, we're going to go back to cell A1 where it says Personal Budget Worksheet on our title. We're going to change the color of that one. So I'm going to come over to my Font Color button, which usually has a capital A with a colored line under it. Usually it's red to begin with. I'm going to click on that and it's going to give me my colors. The color I want is Blue Accent 1, which should be located right here. If you're using an older version of Excel and you don't have a Blue Accent 1, just go ahead and pick a blue that's on this top row. Okay. Then I'm going to repeat that and apply the Blue Accent 1 also on my monthly estimates. So I'm just going to click on it. I'm also going to go down and okay, so we got that one done also. The next thing we're going to do is we need to center our title across our whole thing. Now, Personal Budget Worksheet looks like it's in more than one cell. However, it's not. It's only located in cell A1. If I were to click on B1, you can see there's nothing up here in my formula bar. It's only located in A1. If I was to type in cell B1, you can tell that it covers it up. So the only reason why it's showing it all the way across here is because there's nothing else in those cells. But I want to center this across my whole worksheet. So to do that, we have to merge all these cells into one cell. And to merge our cells, I'm going to just highlight A1 through N1, and I'm going to come up and hit my merge and center button. That's going to merge it and also center it above the whole worksheet. I could go back and left align it or right align it if I want, but I want centered. I want to do the same thing to my subtotal where it says monthly estimates, which is located in cell A2. So I'm going to highlight from A2 through N2 and hit merge and center. You cannot do these both at the same time. A lot of people want to highlight all the way from A1 down through N2. However, you can only do one row or one column at a time. If you would have done it all, it tried to merge it all into one big box. And we don't want to do that. We want our monthly budget worksheet on row 1 and our monthly estimates on row 2. Now, if you decided you didn't want those merged, all you have to do is hit the merge and center button again, and it unmerges them. But we're going to leave them merged. The next thing we're ready to do is we're going to format the top row of our worksheet where it has income and all the months listed across. And again, we're going to use our style settings. So I'm just going to go ahead and highlight A3 through N3 because I need to select which cells I want to apply this formatting to. I'm going to come up and hit the More button on my Style button. And this time I'm going to choose Heading 1. Okay, that's going to look good. It's kind of a dark blue, and it's going to put a blue underline under it. Next, I'm going to go to cell A8 where it has expenses, and I'm going to select that row through total, so A8 through N8, and I'm going to go back up to my styles, and I'm also going to select heading 1 for those. Okay, so it's already beginning to look much better. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select cells A6 through N6, which is going to select the total income, and at the same time I'm going to select A17 through N17. Now if I come down here, it unselects these. These are non-adjacent, meaning these ranges are not touching. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight my A6 through N6. I'm then going to hold down on my control key, and I can select my second row. These are non-adjacent, and by holding control, you can select non-adjacent cells. And we're going to use the total style for this one. So I'm going to come up here to my style box, and I'm going to choose total. Now with the total, if you're not in accounting, this may not make sense to you, but if you are an accounting student, when you have a total, you typically always put a double rule or double line under your total to show that is your total. So that's what we did with this one. Okay, on the next step, I'm going to select A19. So A19 through N19. And I'm going to come up to my, make sure you're on your home tab, my style area. And this time I want accent 1. So accent 1 is here, which is going to give it a solid blue color. And it's going to change my font color to white. The next thing I'm going to do to make things easier to read is I'm going to select A4 through N4, which is my wages row. I'm going to select A9 through N9, so I've got to hold down my control key. And that's going to select that one. Then I'm going to go down and I want to do A11 through N11, which is my tuition row. If you see what we're doing here, we're basically selecting every other row. That way it's going to make this easier for us to read. So whenever I get done, I've held down my control key, and I should have selected my wages row, my rent, my tuition, my entertainment, and my gas. Okay, with those all selected, I'm going to go to my style area. And this time the style I want is accent 1 20%. So in my accent 1 section, I'm going to go up to 20%, which is a very light blue color. So once I unselect, you can see here that it's just made that just shaded it just a little bit so it's easier to follow the rows across. Okay, this time I'm going to select A5 through N5, and I'm going to do the same thing with row 10, so I'm holding control. Basically, I'm selecting everything we did not select before. So when I get done, I should have selected dividends, food, books, car payment, and miscellaneous. And I'm going to go back to my style button, and this time I'm going to choose accent 40%, which is a little bit darker. So now whenever I click off, you can tell with just very few clicks of the mouse and highlighting, we have actually changed our boring looking worksheet to something that's a lot easier to read. Okay, next we're going to work on formatting the numbers because we know that these are dollar amounts, and so we want to make sure that we always have them, first of all, consistent. This one has 2 decimal places, this one has no decimal places, so they need to be in a consistent format. So I'm going to select B4 through N4. So I'm selecting all the numbers. This time I'm not getting the word wages in there. And I'm going to come up to the top in the number format area on my home tab where it says General. And below it there's a dollar sign. That will change it to the accounting number format. So all I have to do is hit the number sign, and it added, the dollar sign and it added my dollar signs and it added my commas into that. Okay, then I'm going to select B5 through N5. And this time, when you do accounting, typically you only have your dollar sign on the top row and also on your totals row. So on this one, I just want a comma format, so I'm going to come up here and hit comma. You'll notice it also changed all my zeros to just a dash. That's a common accounting practice, is if there's nothing there or if it's a zero, that it just is a dash that you put in. Okay, next I'm going to do my totals for my income, which is on row 6. I'm going to select that area, and I'm going to choose the accounting format for that one. That's the one with the dollar sign. Okay, so you can see now the income section is looking very nice. I'm going to do the same thing with my expense section. So I'm going to select row 9, which is cell B9 through N9. I'm going to make that the accounting style. I'm going to select the rest of the numbers here in the middle, which is rows 10 through 16. I'm going to make that a comma style. And then I'm going to come down here and select my total row on row 7. And I'm going to make that an accounting style. I also want to come down to my net row, which is on row 19, and make that accounting. Okay, you'll notice the one thing it did is it changed these from just having a negative to putting them in parentheses. In accounting, a lot of times you will have parentheses instead of a dash or a negative number. The parentheses means that it is negative. Another way you can write a negative number in accounting is to use red. Okay, so it's looking really nice, except for the fact that some of my months are cut off, like February's cut off. Here I don't have the whole word of September, November, December. So we always want to make sure that you can see your entire column width. So just like we did when we were using Access or we did tables in Word, we can put the mouse right here between the 2 column headings. So I'm right between the A and the B. I can drag to make my column as wide as I want it to be, or the simplest thing to do is just double click, and Excel's going to look down through here and it's going to make that column the proper width. So I'm going to go ahead and continue that for B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Now some of these are not moving very much. J, K, L, M, and N. So now all my columns are the proper width. I can see all my words. You need to make sure before you turn anything in that you can always... Okay, I have just one more quick thing to show you on this section. We talked about the name box up here, which tells you which cell you're located in. So instead of clicking in a cell to go there, you can also just type in your name box. So if I wanted to go to cell A1, I could come to A1 and just use my keyboard and type A1 and press enter, and it's going to take me to A1. Now you might not find this very beneficial for a small worksheet, but if I'm working on a large worksheet and I know that my column, I was somewhere over around column ZZ on row 1, but it's going to take a while to scroll over there, I could just come up here and type Z1 and press enter, and it's going to take me all the way over to ZZ column. So your alphabet does repeat once you have used up all the letters in the alphabet, and it also goes down several rows too. So I'm going to go back to A1. Oops, I didn't want to type there. I want to type that in my name box. Okay, so that's going to finish up this section. There are some other things you can do to get around, and if you look on page 36 of your book, it's going to talk about how you can use your page up, your page down, your arrows, your control home to take you home, different ways to get around in your Excel worksheet. So we're going to go ahead and stop this video for part 2. Be sure you come back for part 3, where we're going to be adding a pie chart to our worksheet.